Hello and welcome, fellow Mythrunians, to another live stream. Tonight we'll be continuing the pathfinding stuff, and we'll start breaking it out into 3D, which means we'll be doing like some more advanced physics queries to get different locations of context and stuff that may or may not go smoothly. We'll see. But let's go ahead and get started. In the upper left corner, that is the place where you can download the last version of the game. Also join the Discord. The password there is Dragon. There you can see my gray beard coming in. Scrolling there in the lower left are my patrons, which are super awesome people. Thank you for supporting me. All right. Let us get started. I'm going to start by showing you some of the stuff I've been working on with Mythruna lately. I've been trying to fix a bunch of... Hey, Ron, happy Friday. Hi, Max. I've been trying to fix a bunch of long-standing issues in the user interface and just make the experience a little better. So, along those lines, I have... Man, I need a shave. I've updated the engine test warning a little bit. I'm still deciding if I like that language, but I thought the old one sounded a little too scary, considering that I haven't actually broken any worlds yet. So the other thing is I'm going to make it so that this only pops up the first time a new version is released, or whenever this changes, and then there'll be a what's new that pops up also only when it is actually new. But then you can always get to it, and there'll be some previous versions as well. The other thing I fixed is when the progress is loading, we get like cool little splash screens that fade. So we get like those cool images that the community helped me pick, both on Blue Sky and in Discord. So kind of cool. I think it's cool that she's mostly in the same place, because there's not that many of different screenshots from different characters. So it kind of just fades the background and she stays there. It's kind of fun. And it'll do it here too, though. This one, just to make sure that it would work that way, it will always start with, oh, that's not right. It couldn't find the loading JPEG. It's supposed to always start with the loading 1.jpg and then the old one. So maybe when I reduced maybe I accidentally deleted it. I'll have to check. Anyway, so all that stuff still works. I don't think there's anything changed in-game other than fixing it so that when you try to pet the dog, it doesn't turn him into a ghost. Because that was a little distressing when I was showing one of my kids. Since this is our dog that passed away last June, it was kind of weird to pet her and have her turn into a ghost. Anyway, so I fixed that feature. Quote-unquote feature, right? Yeah, so I don't think there's anything else to say in here. Oh, yeah, sure there is. Used to be, like, once you had the map open, like, you could never, like, get your view back, but now you can actually toggle these on and off. So you can go to character and you can toggle them on. So if you just wanted to hit tab to pause your UI, yes, and I've added F12 is also the screenshot key now, as well as the regular print screen. But yeah, so now if you have one of these open, you can just click it again to close it, and property window has been recentered. YouTube is telling me I've gotten errors. The other thing is, if you were editing like if you're editing a blueprint, the menu goes away so that you can't switch. But if you did switch, like if you hit J to go to journal, it will automatically close that so that you don't end up with like 3 different editors. I watched somebody's playthrough on YouTube, and they managed to get like all of the different blueprint, clothing, and stuff editors open all at the same time. I'm like, yeah, I gotta fix that bug. So yeah, now this is a big one for me. So the other thing is, let me roll time forward or back so that we can still see stuff. So F9, as you know maybe from before, turns on and off this. F12 now does screenshots, but Control F12 will switch you into this mode. So that makes it really easy to get into a mode where you can, take a clean screenshot. And obviously F5 changes you to your different faraway views, and then you can hit, if you have a non-build wand selected, you can hit E to get rid of the cursor, and you got a nice clean window. Control F12 will take you back again. Oh, the other thing, so before, when you had stuff that rolled off the screen, you couldn't see it anymore, but now you've got a little scroll bar, and you can also use the middle mouse to scroll back. Scroll back is limited, but it's actually configurable up to a point. So now I may actually turn this off, because I'm not sure the users should set it to anything but what I'm not sure users should set it to anything other than what I predefine, or if they want to monkey with the config directly. I don't think that there's a need to set it to 112 or something, So I'll probably set it to like 250 by default and leave it up as a config option. Yeah, we discovered a bug. So anyway, we'll get to see a few more of these screenshots that pop up. This one, I would like this one a lot. Things to make you... I ended up choosing both of the dungeon pictures, by the way. Both of the ones with color. Okay, let's get back into the game, and I'll stop monkeying with those settings. I'll show you something else. So the other thing I did was... This I can't actually demo, but Ron was on one time on the server, and he was still joining, and I was sending him messages. Or no, I've seen people join, and I send them messages. They don't see the messages because they aren't actually in the game yet. So I made it so that it collects those, and when you finally do get in the game, it will dump them in, and you'll see them. The other thing is, Ron and I were on one night, and he was busy doing something and didn't realize I was chatting with him, and had a bunch of entered, exited stuff, and it would have been nice if he could have scrolled back. But the current sound was also pretty subtle, so I've added a little bling, so now it's a little more obvious that you're getting a text. And there'll be some, this will go well too, because in the future there will be different musical cues for, like, when you discover something, it'll do a little bum 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 or something, to let you know. So these entered town, when the first time you hit them, they might say that. Anyway, the scroll back is kind of cool. The other one is if you decide that you want smaller text or bigger text, you can shrink it down so that now so if you're on a bigger screen and maybe you can read that, you can set it down smaller and have more on the screen at once. I've already used it because I've decided to actually like 0.85 on mine. So even the original 1.0 was not good for me. And you can actually scroll it up bigger too. So if you're playing on like a huge Retina display or something, you've got it full screen, and so you've got like some massive number of pixels, you can make the text bigger so you can see it. Maybe, I don't know. It's actually not scaled with the UI, so I think it always scales up anyway. I don't think there's ever a point to go beyond 1, but who knows? Could change in the future. So anyway, that's kind of cool. Those are all the UI improvements. So I may cut a release Sunday or Monday. Some things are blowing up at the day job that I'm responsible for, so I may actually have to do real work this weekend, unfortunately. Depends on whether I think of a solution to the problem before Monday or not. I think that's it. So a bunch of different UI tweaks coming, and I'll probably cut a release with the next couple days. I've got like a short list of things that I still want to try to get in. I got to finish that what's new. I updated the warning text pop-up, but I want it to not actually pop up unless it's changed, kind of thing. So that's cool. 10 minutes in, and now we're ready to start. So where we left off last time was playing with the pathfinding, and we actually got it working. So we'll demo that real quick. and I'll show some things off with respect to that. I've modified it so that instead of doing single step, it does like 100 steps at a time. So that means like if we put this right here and we say we want her to go to, you know, way down here. Yeah, I wish I could get that to stop doing that. Oh, clean path, go to here. Yeah, clean path, go to here. Yeah, it's because we're looking straight down on it. Somehow I get clipped in there. So now if we step, shoo, it does like 100 at once or something. And so for this, which I have set to the, I have the heuristic set to the distance squared. It, you know, it almost always makes it in the one hop. You know, within 100. In fact, it'll. That's not the right window. It'll have told us. Actually, if we try to step again, it will tell us. Yeah, it managed that in 76 iterations, which is pretty cool. Right, so 76 tries. It made a pretty direct beeline. It doesn't make very realistic paths though, because it doesn't. You know, it values getting closer better than it values going there. I don't know if you know what I mean, but if we go, where did? Yes, because my editor died and I had to restart it. So now I have to find all the things again. I think, oh wait, setup driver, that's up here. Whoops, nope, see, these were closed. Doink, doink, because I moved everything over to mods. Maybe that's something I did over last weekend. So, used to be everything was in scripts, but I wanted to be able to have proper dependencies and stuff, so I changed everything to, I reworked the rigger tool to use the modules library. So I could actually have proper modules with dependencies and stuff. We want setup driver, and then up here, so if we set the heuristic back to just distance, and then we can see, we clean the path, we set it again, oops. Okay, now if we do it step, it won't make it all the way there. In 100, and we do it again, it won't make it all the way there. So it takes a lot longer to search, but in the end the path is actually more accurate because it's based on the actual cost of getting there. So there's going to be some balance, and sometimes it looks better to use just the distance cost up here, and then when you get closer to use the more direct, but yeah, so anyway, so it's going to be a balance because the other way is certainly faster and finds ways to get there. They just don't always look as good as this way, but there might be a way to like smooth them out. Because even this way, well, that's funny how she made it through the crack there. That shouldn't happen either. Yeah, that's problematic. Oh yeah, so it gets really like slow when. Anyway, so today, I'm gonna put that back the way it was. We'll go with fast for now, and I might shorten the number of iterations so that we can still see steps. So if what I just did is, if we go back here, now it'll do just 10 at a time, right? So we can still see it doing the work, because sometimes just, well, first of all, we're going to be playing with physics queries right away, and so we're going to want to see the contacts and things just in one iteration, so we may end up setting it back down to 1. Because we're going to be working on 3D, which means I need to modify this. Well, technically we have a 3D path already, because if I put her destination back here, she can't actually get there. Because she can't step over the... She can't even step over that little bit there. But let's go to here and we'll talk about all the different cases we have to cover. The queries, here the queries are not on a separate thread, but they're like a but so in the final version, so like a single step will just query the physics engine, and that's fine. It's really fast. Eventually, each iteration will be performed some number on a particular frame, so it will be handled in the background in that sense. It may be that I do shunt these off to separate threads, but I'm currently hoping to just kind of let the NPC think over, several frames, which is why, like, when I have 76 iterations to find a destination, that's like just a little over a second of frames if you think 60 frames a second. So I like the idea behind that, because then they can be interrupted while they're thinking about their plan, and it's not a big deal to launch another plan. I don't have to really worry about necessarily queuing things up on a thread, et cetera, et cetera. But the option is always there to send them over to background threads. I do that for other things already. It's always a little more complicated that way. Let's see. So you're giving them a budget, but what happens if there are many of them in a town or some other place? Well, that's the thing, is I can make I could make the budget as busy as I want, and since, right, if they only get one iteration each, I can probably do several hundred NPCs. So again, it's a balance. Ultimately, I'm limited by CPU time anyway, so there's always going to be a certain number of NPCs that slows down the thinking. But again, that they won't always have to pathfind, because once they have their path, then they start going down it. And then they don't have to think about it unless they get disturbed. So not every NPC is going to be calculating paths all the time, and I can decide only 5 physics queries a frame kind of thing, in which case only 5 NPCs can think at a time, and I can queue them up and so on and so forth. And if they can have priorities, the ones that are in combat might get more priority than the ones that aren't, and so on and so forth. I've got options. But they're way easier to control if they're not on background threads. But again, I have thread pools all over the place, so it's not a big deal if I decide to do that. That's not the plan right now. There's another reason too, in that as the NPC's goals shift, they may decide to change their plan but not want to throw away all of the iterations that they've made so far, in which case the plan for their path has to be like easily accessible from the thread that's doing their regular thinking, which is going to be on the render thread, or the game thread, because the game loop thread, because that's the least synchronization issues. They have access to the whole world and so on and so forth, and can run scripts and things without having to worry about clobbering other stuff. So all like player or NPC actions will be done on the game loop thread, just like player actions. And so if like they're going to open a door and see if that improves their pathfinding. Anyway, there's a bunch of it's hard to describe. And again, I always have the option of going to background threads, but I'm currently trying to keep it in line, because I believe that as they discover things about the paths they're finding, that may change their current set of goals, right? So if they're searching for the best path and they see that there's a door in the way, that may change their goals to say, hey, I'm right near this door, why don't I open that and see if that improves my pathfinding? But they don't necessarily want to throw away all the pathfinding because maybe they can't open the door, and I'm not sure that's even a good example. But anyway, it's complicated, right? So yeah, she can't get over that right now because it's like, oh, I was going to go over all the different cases we got to cover. Yeah, so you've got some kind of NPC. We'll assume a person right now, right? So they can walk up ramps. So as they query ahead of them, we have to think of, am I hitting a ramp, which means I can walk up it, but maybe it's not my preferred thing. If I've got another easy way around, depending on how steep the ramp is. Similarly, we can walk up steps of a certain size without really without really increasing the pathfinding much. So maybe that's just a slightly more expensive than going around. So this is another case where we would detect that from that collision shape we use, we would detect a contact sufficiently low or something that I'm not actually. This is where we're going to play with this because I'm not exactly sure where this shape would get a contact. I don't remember. Other cases are so the big one we'll start playing with first is what if there's a drop off. So right now we send like a little query up like this, and I'm thinking I need to extend this down. There is a question that remains whether it's better to do one big bounding query and then sort out the different contacts that I will get from that, or whether it's better to issue separate queries depending on. So for example, if I issue a query here, so if I issue a query here and I'm blocked, there's no reason to query up and down. But if I issue a query here and it's free, maybe I also want to query down to see if I'm about to walk off an edge. If I query down here and I'm about to walk off an edge, is it an edge like this or is it an edge like this? Because that matters. Because maybe it's okay for them to just jump down a little bit. So this is what we're gonna experiment with first. How big and how many of these, query shapes do we have to hit? And eventually, like this is a kind of a loose box right now. It does actually have kind of rounded edges just because the way the physics engine currently works, but ultimately I want to replace this with an oriented capsule because I think I can do that pretty efficiently in my physics engine. It's just all kind of a lot of work to, every time you add a new kind of collision shape, the combinatorial, like if you have like spheres and cubes and shapes, you've already got 9 different ways that can combine, right? Sphere to sphere, sphere to cube, sphere to, that sort of thing. And so every time you add a new one, you've got to go back and make sure all the different combinations work. All right, so yeah, so we're going to play with queries first, the spatial queries, or the physics queries, to see what kind. And so the other thing is we're going to need to ultimately change our maze here. I want to probably raise the ceiling a little bit so that I can have little walkways across, so that we could put her up on one of these ledges and see if she can walk along the ledges, because that will check for this case walking off the edge. And then eventually we'll give her some stairs up and we'll see if she can go up and down. I would like to see what the queries look like hitting this shape. So we might, I'm thinking if we like put her here, then I can position myself in such a way that we're not clipped, and I can come down here and I can see, let's just move like this, right? I can see really well what's going on with her query. If I use a different query visualization, because right now, like if I was to say go to here, oops, ooh, that's right, because I'm on the other side of the thing. So if I was to say go to here and I just step once, like see, these are all blocked because they're, and I mean like they're big in red, so I will want a different visualization. I will want a single step. Anyway, Max, I hope that answered your question before, by the way. Okay, so she can hit that in a single step. That's good. So let's give her a new. Let's set another mob action called physics test. I don't think I need any of this stuff. So now we've got a new, yeah, it gets its own little line. That's fine with me. It's so weird to see the flat face. Wait. Yeah, I want to stress the big thing about that new warning screen is, like, before, when you launched the game, it had that big warning that came up and that said, 99% sure that I won't change the engine format, but your structures might go away with every new version or whatever. I walked that back a lot because so far I have not broken any worlds, and I think it makes people scared to build like cool things. The other thing is I already have tools that I use myself that allows me to click on a structure and extract them from the game and put them in other games, in other worlds. So really all I have to do is have a mode where players can use those tools themselves and extract their structure. So even if the world upgrades, potentially I could enable in old worlds the ability to extract stuff and move them to new worlds if they want to build in a new place, that kind of thing. So just something made me think of that. I just wanted to stress that. That's why I changed the warning text. I wanted to make it sound less scary because I want to see cool things. Yeah, because that's how I did the haunted house for the server. Was I built that locally. Actually, I started it in Blocked, and then I imported it into the game and used the tool to place it in the game. But then when I made a bunch of changes in game, I clicked on it to extract it again and moved it to a different to the actual server world. So those tools already work because I find it better. It's more fun to build things in the game and then extract them and then tweak them a little bit in the Blocked editor than it is to just build structures in there. So, all right, physics test. So what we want to do is we want to take one of these iterations that goes around the different directions. So normally candidate location is going to be, okay, so let's figure out what cell the agent is in. So that's going to be agent rigid body position, I believe. Let's see what that does. So if I come over here and I click physics test, okay, so yep, it logs her cell position. That's good. And then we want to see, when we made the location, candidate location I think is also start. Oh, we could just steal this, in fact. Okay, so this is the cell. So start works. I like to keep my debugging up to date. That way we use the same sort of query. Oopsie. Yep, so I did something wrong. Message property driver. Oh yeah, agent. It's important to be consistent with your naming, and then you avoid issues like that. Okay, so then this, we want like a bunch of this. Let's just not. So we want to go to each neighbor. since we're only going to do one step, it's okay for us to, yeah, so this way it tells me that I've messed up. Yes, because this should be start. Yeah, okay, so we've got all the neighbors. Yeah, so the other thing eventually I have to do is flying mobs, and so they will have, like a flying mob can go in all the directions. You know, so there's, what, 27 different directions, 26 different directions they can go in, if you count all the diagonals and stuff. So that'll be interesting. But it's it's essentially the same. And so one of the interesting thing about having this directions list is that different mobs could have different directions lists. So fish and birds and things could, because fish underwater can go in any direction also. They could have like the full 26 directions, whereas normal, you know, ground-bound mobs would only have the 9 or 8 different, excuse me, cardinal directions. All right. Anyway, so now we want to steal this. We want the path cell to world. What is character shape? Oh, character shape is a global. Okay, so we'll get that. We'll query the contacts. And we'll just print out what we get for now. Just to see what's going on. Yep, because then we broke something. No fizz. Oh yeah. So I'm used to having all my global variables preloaded, but we have to, in every one of these closures, we have to grab the systems, because I did not set up globals for them. Yep, still got problems. No such property driver. Yeah. Alright, let's try again. So iterative development, folks. Okay, so she gets 3, which I suspect is, you know, 1, 2, 3 in this direction. And so now, instead of drawing the giant, we can just draw the arrows and not the big red box. Chug a big red box. So we get the position. That's the box. We don't want that. So then we'll create an arrow for every contact. And I think clean path will still clean them up. So let's see. We do physics test. Okay, so yep. We got contacts down there. We don't get contacts up here. But we also don't get contacts up here, and I think we would for a wall. We can actually test that by creating another mob. Oh yeah, I gotta, oops, right up next to a wall and see what her physics test does. Oopsie. Oops. That's not right. Oh. Oh, it just, oh, it ordered them in the wrong order. So she gets, yeah, so she gets, okay, so this is interesting, and maybe useful for us. So Mythruna supports only 2 types of physics queries right now. One is spheres, and the other is block shapes, right? Because the world is a block shape, all the objects are block shapes, and it breaks these block shapes down. And you know, so if there was a slope here, you know, it knows that's a triangle, but it breaks them down into faces at that point. It detects each of these can have a different collider and so on and so forth. And so, and actually the way it works is if you have two objects colliding with each other, two block objects colliding with each other, you know, and one of them's got a slope or whatever, if this is the world, then it treats all of these sort of like an array of spheres of certain size. You know, so it picks one object to treat like an array of spheres and the other anyway. That's why. So we only normally have to deal with the block shapes to sphere collisions. It actually is a little different because there's masking that goes on so that the interior faces don't end up intersecting with things, and so on and so forth. I don't want to complicate it, but really there's only two shapes that are really, well, yeah, so it gets complicated if I start adding a new one. But anyway, the point is, to do this query, I actually created a block shape that's 3 blocks high or 4 blocks high. We can, there was a thing to visualize this at some point. Where shape test, yeah, so if I turn this true, then we can do like a shape test for, no, that's not the right one. Yeah, why is, yeah, no, okay, this is a different shape test. Never mind. Yeah. The actual physics shape, there was a debug for that too. If true to, oh, that's what test is. It's been here all along. Oh, it's not. Oh, right. So now if we do test, yeah, so it's showing her block query, and then like it runs it ahead and does some query tests. But that's the shape, and so if you imagine that there's, in fact, we can fix the shape. So it has, instead of create character blocks, we can say, or instead of clear, for int I equals 0, I less than 3, I plus plus. If we give them slightly different colors, set 0 comma I comma 0 comma 1 I plus 1. I may have just screwed things up, but let's see. Let's try test again. Oops, yep, I screwed something up. What did I screw up though? That is always the question. Cell array set cell. The other thing I can do is down here. We don't want to debug the path. Oh, so if I set this to false. Okay, let's try again. It'll clear up those extra actions too, so. The point being is we're going to need to set this. It may actually be perfect for our use because it's already essentially kind of doing multiple queries. I'll explain in a second. Alright, so let's go back over here. Let's create her there because I want to show that again. So if we test Ooh, that's not what I want. I mean, it's showing me stuff. But, okay, I turned the wrong thing off. If debug path true. So this is what's creating the test body. Character blocks, that's what I want. I think for now I'm going to say if we wanted to debug the path, we would have shown the whole thing. And so I'll do this, and then not debug path here. So then if we do test, yeah, so see, you can see the different colors now. So this is a 3-block high thing, which is why when it hits a wall, we get a collision for each of these blocks. But so let's change this. Debug shape true, debug path true. Turn this back on to debug shape, and we'll let the rest play out because I want to see. We query in a different place, right? We query down, and I think that's true. Yeah, because it turns out that 0, 0 is not really at the feet. Anyway, it's complicated. So when we can't see those, so the point is we've got 3 blocks here. Let me do a print screen, and then we'll turn off debug path, and so we'll say if not debug path return. Okay. So now if we run it again, oh, we want to debug the path, but not the shoot. Yeah. So we don't want to debug the path shape, but we do want to debug the path. So that's fine. Oh wait. No, we fixed that. So if debug path shape, then we create the box. We don't want to do that all the time, but okay. So now we'll try again. Test. So then we'll take a screenshot of this, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's make it bigger. Right, so doink. No, stop that. Okay. I just want it to be regular size. There we go. So if we go back and forth, we see that there were 3 boxes here, and then so from their center, that's where the contacts were based. So like if I hold my mouse over here and I flip back over to this screen, you can see it's like roughly the center of that block, because we're kind of at an angle, right? So it's center of here, right? So we could use that to our advantage by stacking the blocks in such a way that we get multiple contacts the way we want. How would I divide up the path calculations per frame? Well, in the dumbest approach, the most naive approach would just be to give 1 iteration per frame. I think I can't clean this without. So, like if we go back to 1 step, Where's that defined? So if we go back to one step per thing, and we give her, or we make a new, and then keep track of where it is. So that's, okay, this is it. So if we have this, so basically each game frame, all of the NPCs that are trying to do paths, basically anything they are thinking about, right? That's the beauty of this, is like whatever they are thinking about that might be iterative, I can queue up for their brains, and then every frame I give them one tick to do whatever one iteration is. One iteration, two iterations, three, whatever. They get a tick, and so this is one of the things they're thinking about pathfinding. They might also use the same thing to search the goal and the action graph to figure out how to reach their goals by taking certain actions. Can't open the door unless they get the key, but they've got the key. If they get the key out, then they can use the key in the lock and open the lock and unlock the door. Then they can open the door and they can walk through the door. So there's a chain of actions that has to happen. Those are similar kind of search, which can be done iteratively. So anyway, the point is, like, this NPC decides they want to walk here, and so every game loop frame, they get another chance, right? So and they slowly work through their thing. Slowly in the sense that, 60 frames only takes a second, right? And so, meanwhile, they get here, right? And, if the world changes, if the world changes while they're thinking about it, it can change the way they're thinking about it, and so on and so forth. But that's how I would do it. And if I have to do it on a background thread, so be it, but I'm hoping I can just iterate right in the engine, let them think about stuff. Right, because we are always thinking about multiple things at once. If I'm trying to figure out the best way to get from here to my bedroom, do I go through the bathroom, but the bathroom's door is closed, or do I go around the other way? And so they might be thinking about multiple things that are all ended up being related depending on how quickly they think of one thing or another. And priorities, may change that, and so on and so forth. Let's delete that one. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm trying to think. We've already got a pretty good spread here for just hitting things, right? We know if we don't hit something here, we could definitely walk over it. If we hit something here, we could probably walk over it, but maybe we're a little slower. I'd have to put I wish I had like a wireframe version of the box already written, and I could do it, but it would like take 10 minutes, and really we've got a lot of stuff to cover anyway. So this might actually be okay for figuring out how to get over things, and I could extend the box, potentially make it 5 high. There's the other reason, that other case I didn't cover, is, in fact, I'm going to draw another player down here because we're getting kind of another NPC down here. So the other case is when they come up to a wall like this, they can technically grab that edge and pull themselves up. Like, if that's really something that's the best way to get to where they're going, they could jump and grab that edge and pull themselves up. It's an expensive operation, but they can do it. And so really, this is why I keep drawing the query up, right? Because we want to have, a set of queries like this where, depending on the contacts we get, we can make decisions about what's going on. And I think doing this once is going to be better than having multiple shapes. If I have multiple shapes, I could have some of them be spheres and give me more information and so on and so forth, but I think ultimately one query is going to be better. Ooh, and if we find that's a problem, I can always split it out. But certainly for today, that's what we're going to do. So I think if I made this like 5 high, I get one up here and one down here. And remember, it's actually querying at a lower. So then I believe I would detect low ceilings, but I could ignore those, and I could detect openings like this to see if they could potentially climb up. But real quickly, I think I want to add some bridges. So let's do that real quick. It'll give me a chance to clean up all that garbage that we're not going to use. So this is the second screen, so great will run. This shouldn't take but a second. Alright, open. Playground 2. Alright, so let's make some cross passages with a slab down. Doink, 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 doink. Let's make it interesting. Alright, so technically now they can get from here to here by walking around the long way. And I mean, that's enough to make it interesting, but let's see if we can. The other thing is every one of these I add potentially obscures a view. Yeah, let's make sure we intersect these paths okay, right? Because that's kind of a tricky. It's kind of tricky. Okay, we'll leave that one with a little kind of gap there. I think that's good enough. What do you guys think? I think that's good enough. And while we're at it, though, let's make some stairs up. So maybe right here. Maybe right here. I think here and here, and then we want a slab up for here. So technically they should be able to walk up and get to all these places, right? Okay, save it. You can overthink things sometimes. So copy sample block files, playground 2.blocks, 2 ... rigor. Sort sample 2 block files. Yes, replace it. Okay. Now let's go back to what we were doing. Okay. Playground 2, start the simulation. Alright. So let's go back to where we were testing and put our mob right here. And then do the physics test. Okay, we get a bunch of... so if we're far enough, we do actually get the little up arrows too. It's just we were glancing it before. Yeah. Actually, we shouldn't be getting both. Unless we're hitting that other... Problem is I can't visualize what the actual blocks are doing. Because I never added a wireframe. We could do real quick. I'm going to add wireframe support real quick. Sorry guys. Debug views. Oops, wrong class. Debug view state and debug shape. So we can say wireframe. And we'll just create an alternate version of box and sphere. And do this. I should have copied that first, right? Alright, just in case, for backwards compatibility, I'm less likely to have broken something this way. Wireframe equals wireframe. Boolean is wireframe. Save my sanity later by adding it here too. Get really good at typing wireframe. Okay, then down here where we actually make the shape view, we create the shape here. And so then shape, get color, okay, if shape is wireframe, then set wireframe true. Now if I got that right, excuse me, we should be able to add wireframe shapes. Now it's going to be the wireframe version of a box is going to have triangles, but oh, wrong, stupid maze. Okay, sorry. Please try again. Start your simulations. Okay, so we put the mob here. And we do the physics test. And if we clean the path, it gets rid of the physics test. Okay, so now we can see why we're getting, if I add a debug box to wherever we got, yeah, that's strange. Why did we get one here? Yeah. I don't want to speculate. So what I just did doesn't actually help me, because to visualize the shape, it didn't take long, so I'm not going to sweat it. And I still might be able to use it, but to visualize the shape, normally we just render it as a block object. And I don't have a way to make a block object a wireframe. And writing the code to decompose one in here. Okay, first of all, let's think about what we want to do. I thought I had let's maybe fake it till we make it. Where do we set the character shape? Character shape scale. Then character shape height equals 3. Save me some trouble later. We can get rid of this. So what I'm thinking is, yeah. So we created a, yeah, we just created a box. We didn't make it specific to any kind of, okay, so contact position, we don't want that. We want contact position is the world shape origin. So that is fine. Sorry, I'm like thinking and okay, so make the shape, and we want it to be 0.5 wide. We want it to be character shape height times 0.5. We want it to be 0.5 deep, and let's make it yellow and wireframe. Okay, so we've got it the right size, and I think we want to put it at contact position, get world shape origin, the shape of the body, and the shapes 0, 0 should be the bottom. So I think we want to put it contact position dot add 0.5 character height, yeah, basically this, and then the shape. So if I've done this right, it's going to show us, I didn't do it right. Line 642. Oh, I kept, I must have missed a parenthesis somewhere. No. That's what it's acting like. Like if I take these out, does it compile? Yeah, so I did something wrong here. What did I do wrong? Oh, yeah, I missed a parenthesis. Flexible languages are really bad at telling you about stuff like that. Okay, so physics test, like clean path, physics test. Whee! Yeah. That is not at all correct. It is overlapping. They need to be shrunk down? That's not true. Is it? Oh, because the shape scale. Okay. So let's tell it extents. We want this will just make it easier to mess with. Add extents. Okay, so we should be able to. That's not going to clean. That's not going to fix anything, but it's going to get us one step closer to fixing it. So okay. Now we want to multiply this by the character shape scale, which I can actually get from the shape itself, but this will just be easier for the moment. Okay, so clean the path. Physics test. Yeah, there we go. No, still not right. Oh, yes, because it's only for the contacts. Sure. This is useful. What do you... Okay, so sorry. What do you think about how AI tools have evolved since GPT-4 released? Last time we talked about them. I really haven't kept up, to be honest. The large language model stuff is interesting to me from the standpoint of like I'd like Mythruna to be able to tell stories more fluently based on things it knows. But I haven't yet seen how it applies to like making characters think in the world yet. Like not in a way that wouldn't burn the rest of the game, if you know what I mean. But I'm interested. Okay, so I think this is accurately showing me where the... In fact, we could make it more accurate by showing the individual blocks. I said I wasn't going to do that, but I think I am. Because we're right here, right? We are right here, and it wouldn't take but a thing. So if we do for int I equals 0, I is less than... have you had moments while working on Mythruna where something just worked? Oh, yeah. I mean, last week, we had, like, major breakthroughs, right? Like, stuff was... I thought last week was a very productive session. For 2 hours, we went from having no A-star to fully working A-star, which was kind of cool, where we could tweak the heuristic and see the difference. I mean, like, I started playing with it the next day. It was a lot of fun. So it does happen. The scroll back for the chat console turned out to be a lot easier than I thought it was. I had to touch a lot of things, but ultimately it made everything better, more flexible. So sometimes things do just work. But I'm also, in some ways, at the cutting edge of what I'm doing here. Okay, so we want contact position, add, let's just do it, add ext, and then add 0, comma, I, comma 0. That should do it, right? We don't want to create this. We want to create a new vec3d. Oh no, yeah. We already, I already did it up here. So ext is still accurate. We create the ext and then we step it up, but now ext is a square. So if I clean the path and we do the physics test again. Oops. Oops. We're getting there. Add ext. And then add I times, yeah, the scale. But yeah, there's been plenty of times working on Mythruna where like I did something crazy, and it just worked. Like the way the FAR buildings work. Like that was an experiment that I did one afternoon. Like I thought, hey, I think this particle system thing could be used to render far away blocks. It might look a little crappy, you know, but let's just see what it looks like. And between picking just the right scale the first time, and I had put it over like actual reflective water, which also helped make the effect look really good too. But you know, I did some different castles off in the distance that were just shrunk down, and I mean, it looked great. Like within a couple hours of work, I like had this prototype done, and it looked great. I mean, like, so sometimes I get surprised like that, where I try something out and it just looks. I mean, I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's the way we're going, that kind of thing. Okay, so physics test. Yay, we got this. So this is the actual shape, how it's querying. We can see why we get 2. Yeah, right, because we're doing a full thing. So we're actually getting multiple hits because this shape hit this wall, and then when we were in here, it hit up, because what it's showing us, when a cube intersects another cube, or any of the blocks, in fact. So again, I talked about how it's really just cube and sphere, but so when you have like this, and then you have something else, like a sphere penetrating it, like this sphere is penetrating here, this sphere is penetrating here, it's pretty clear which side the contact should go on. But when you have a case like this, yeah, I mean, it's still kind of clear. It's partly the box thing, right? So if you get like something like this, you know, where's your contact point? We would prefer to just have one. In some physics engines, you would need multiple ones to really resolve that. But Mythruna, the way it works, we just want one. And so it finds the part that penetrates the least. It wants to push you out this way, because that's the quickest way to get you from interpenetrating. And so that's the one it picks. And so that's why in this case, because they aligned perfectly, the quickest way out was up. And here, barely skimmed it. Obviously, the quickest way out's over there. And so anyway, that's my theory about why that's turning out that way. In fact, we can see, actually, it feels like we're still not right, because the bases of these contact points is not where I would expect. Oh, it's at the surface of this. That's what it is. Yeah, okay, it's at the surface of the block. Sure. That makes sense. Okay, so now we have a nice little physics tool to detect things. I want to delete her and place one over here, just to see what it looks like here, to make sure that we're not hitting our head on the ceiling yet, because we want to. Oops. Oh no. Clean path. Physics test. We getting errors or something? No. Physics test. Why aren't we seeing results? Physics test. It performs all the things. It adds a bunch of boxes. We're just not seeing them. Why not? Are they being placed in the wrong place? No. Clean path. Let's delete her. Make another one back over here. Physics test. No, so that's working. It's acting like she didn't actually hit anything, like when she was over here. But certainly she would have. Like at least this. Physics test. Clean path. Physics test. Alright, let's move her closer to the, like right next to the wall. Here we go. Physics test. No, we're not getting anything. It says it's creating things, but we're not seeing them. Like if I clean the path again and physics test, like we got a whole bunch of debug shapes created. At size, we don't have the position. Right there we do. Why does it work in one place and not the other? That's important. So back to what what you were asking, Lando, there's plenty of times where things that should work don't, too. This is one of those cases. Add root. Five 3. Where am I? Yeah, see, I got one contact, which is actually what I expected. But you know what? The other thing is I probably want to have the no, the contact is important because that tells us let's take this out for a second. Before we even query this, base pos equals, instead of this, it'll be agent rigid body agent rigid body. Oops. Okay, and then instead of contact pos, we do base pos, and we get rid of this. So basically, we're gonna always show everywhere we query, and see if those show up. No, we did something wrong. Okay. You gotta just stop writing bugs, that's all. No signature method, get world shape origin. Okay, yes, it's the shape. Where? There. Shape. Not shape. You ever sat down at your keyboard and you're like one column off and everything you type looks like nonsense? Yeah, that's always fun. Clean path, physics test. Okay, so, it is showing us... Oh, right. We actually want... the shape pos. Right. Maybe this is just shape pos. No. But yeah, it's acting like we didn't get any contacts. Shape pos is not right because we need to be... Is it half the... I think we want to subtract half of the height. Let's test it. Clean path, physics test. No. Oh, times the scale. Come on, I hoped we would have 3D pathfinding done tonight. Okay, so that is, yes, that is closer to right. We also need to, yeah, we totally should have gotten contacts back there, which we did. It's like these partial walls aren't hitting contacts correctly. That's the right height, but I think that's not the right position. I think, let's say, 0.5 to 0.5, or times, oops, 0.5 mult character shape scale, and then we will subtract pos offsets. Alright, clean the path. I should just clean it automatically so I don't have to do that every time. That looks pretty accurate, and this is why we didn't get... it is drawing the contact, I think. It's just maybe drawing it inside that wall. Yeah, so that's what it is. We're exactly inside the wall, and we're going to get the contact out the back. That's actually why we sneak through the... That's why we sneak through corners sometimes, right? Because this shows that we're actually contacting back there. That's problematic. I wonder if we shrink the size of the shape a little bit. If we get around this issue. So let's set the 0.45. Clean the path. Test the physics. We need to step by that amount too, though. So it's the same problem. We've got, yeah. So that's going to be a problem, but that's not a problem I'm going to solve today. It's just we've got to remember that so if we clean the path, we'll delete her, move her, create mom, we'll stick her right there. Then we'll do the physics test. Okay, so we get like sensible results this time. Again, she's inside. Those are inside the, but they're pointing in the right direction, right? So we're seeing the walls hit, and we're not seeing the top hit, so that's good. But I think I need to make this 5 tall, and this is why I did all this in the first place. Excuse me. Okay, so I parameterized the shape height here. So if I make it 5 tall, and now it's just going to be too tall because, right, it's just going all the way up top. So then we want to offset that by half a block. So I think down here, in fact, let's make this a parameter, another parameter, character shape offset, and 0.5. We want 1. We want to go down a full block. this lets me, by controlling this here, it lets me have even, like if I wanted to make a 2x2 shape, I could do that too, and I could just set these to 1 instead of -5. So it's good to have this offset here. So then down here, everywhere I create, I'm going to need to fix the iteration of the pathfinding as well, but for this, so we added 0.125, which was rather arbitrary. That is why it's just above there. So anyway, what we want to do is then subtract again. Oh. No, so this is already considering everything centered. So we need to take this part out. Yeah, I'll have to deal with that a different way if I need to make a wider. I won't deal with that here. Where was I? Right here. Subtract mult character shape scale. Oh, we don't want to subtract it, we want to add it, because that's the way I set it up. Okay. That's all good, that's all good. Yes. Okay, let's see what that does for us. Clean the path, physics test. No. It did not fix it. Oh. Yeah, I need to add local. So I'm going to do it like that. So if I wanted to use add, I'd have to do shape_pos equals shape_pos add, and I don't think I'll do that because it's clearer. But add local would have added it back to the same value. So now everything is where it's supposed to be, and we get intersection with the ground, so we'll know if we're dropping off a ledge. And if we do see we're dropping off a ledge, we can do an additional query to figure out how far. But in general, I think we would prefer not to drop off a ledge of any height. But anyway, perhaps. And we will hit. Yeah, we'll see if we could climb up, if we wanted to climb up. Yeah, in fact, we extend a lot lower than... We could actually extend even lower. Anyway, this is fine for what we want to do tonight, I think. And so let's translate that up to... Let's translate this. I think that's all we need. Up to here. Shape_pos. So I think that will automatically set pathfinding up to basically fail all over the place. So even if we wanted to go around the corner, it's going to hit, yeah, the floor. It won't let her go anywhere, right? We're done. We finished in one iteration. We can't go anywhere because it's intersecting the floor, right? So we need to be smarter about contacts that are like pointing straight up and below our feet, that kind of thing. But we're set up to do that now. Okay, so yeah, in fact, yeah, so we get one pointing down. Okay. Yeah, so now we can actually, so before we even couldn't query her head correctly, but now we can do that. So when we get a contact position, we would like to decide if it's a real contact or not. Oh. In fact, I'm going to move this down to... let's... I'm going to do crappy coding right now. Boolean is real equals true. And so then if we find cases where it's not... don't think I use ext anywhere else. So we can put this under is real. And here we can say, where do I add? Wait. So we want to say here is blocked. Okay, this is what we want. Is blocked equals true. By default, if we have any contacts, we'll consider we're blocked. And so then here we can do determine if this is a blocking contact, and we can set cost multiplier, which we'll eventually want depending on what kind of thing it is. So if we did get a contact that's like just a step up, we might want to like multiply our cost by 1.1 or something. I finished my Pepsi and I only brought like a little water. Oops. That's okay. Maybe now I won't need to pee like a racehorse before I get off the thing. So so determine if it's a blocking contact. So a blocking contact will be one where it's a... So let's just go with the original 3. So if relative to our body, rel vector equals, oops, relative to our feet, really. Character shape, add the bound center. We can use shape pos y, I think. Oh, that's the center. Isn't it? Path cell of world. We add the shape bound center. Yeah, that's the center. So let's just set the floor position equal to this. It's not really. Yes, it is. It's whatever our grid basis is. That's not right either, though. What I want to do is figure out where it is in relation to the body. Really, where it is in relation to the feet and the head, right? And so if we take it relative to so there's a bunch of different spaces we're working. There's the rigid body space, which is center of gravity based. There's the shape coordinate space, which is based on like 0, 0 of its origin. It's usually lower left block, whatever. And so I'm trying to figure out how to get it the contact point into between feet and head, right? That's what I want to know. What is it relative to the feet? And the feet or what is it relative to this, right? So yeah, shape pos minus the bound. So let's Just call this bottom. Oh. We gotta go way back because I already screwed something else up. Yeah, okay, so let's do bottom pass. We don't want to call it floor because it's not really the floor. Because it's wherever we're doing our query space. Oops. Yeah, I've got something partially written here. Yeah, so anyway. So the relative vector, let's make the relative, we can actually debug this so we can see what it looks like. So the relative vector is the contact position, which is contact point, subtract bottom pass. And then we can make it real quickly, we can make an arrow. Just to show us what direction that's in. There is no Israel, so let's just say is blocked here. Yeah, so like I'm going to duplicate this code essentially with slightly different names so to protect the innocent. Actually, I can put the other stuff under put this under an if true also, and then I don't have that problem. Now they have their own scopes. Okay. Except for we want to create an arrow in real vector. And we'll make it green. Alright, so let us see what the contact points are relative to feet. So it should point back to the feet. And this is step. So if we clean path, we have to say go to here, and then we have to say step. Whoa. Okay, except for we have to get our code right so that it doesn't fail. Always step one. No real vector. No property real vector on 530. Oh. It's rel vector. What other typos have I added? Let's try again. Yeah, it doesn't have a path, so I have to clean the path, go to here, step. No, we still have failed something. I probably should have just looked at the error. No such property CP. Oh, yeah. We will grab these at the very top because we are going to need them right away. Because even penetration may be important. Clean the path, go to here, step. Yay! So wherever we got a contact, no, something's wrong, right? Because we're, those are they pointing in the wrong direction? They're not scaled, so that's a problem first. So we put it at the contact point. We want to multiply this by our world scale. So we can clean the path, go to here, step once. Okay, but still, things are kind of backwards. Trying to get in the wall here and see what's going on. Things are backwards. Because, well, not really. They're wrong, but it's not exactly backwards either. Oh, maybe their Y is backwards. Because we want them to be pointing down here. Right, because even these long ones should be pointing down. So did I get this backwards? Contact point, which we could just call CP really. Maybe I can create a box at her feet to show me where basically what we're supposed to be pointing to. And we want to make it 0.1. Alright, so let's see again. Clean path. You want to go here. You want to go there. Step. Oh, this is for each direction. Sure. That's not what I want for. The game is really coming along. You seem so close to it all coming together to have something more of a game on the sandbox. My now 8-year-old was watching tonight and was interested. Oh, nice. I like new young fans. So this is the issue here, that we're doing it per neighbor, and that's not what I want. We want current, oops. And it needs to be current. Yeah, let's see what happens if we do that. And we want a different color. Let's set it to blue, the classic blue. Alright. Bottom post, bottom post, bottom post. Okay, let's see. Clean path. Go to here. Step. Whoopsie. I missed copying something. No such property current. That's correct because it's right down here. Alright, let's try that. Clean the path. Go to here. Go to there. I want you to go there. Okay. But now it's not really doing anything. Okay, that's showing me where the root of the query is. But then why did it stop iterating immediately? I've really screwed things up. No such property current rank. That's the old bug. I needed this. I took it all out. But I needed some of it. Shoot. That's not it. I'm being more and more destructive. Okay, so shape pos, yeah, so see, this needs to be ace pos equals back, and then x needs to be neighbor, and this needs to be base pos. Okay, that's why they were all iterating over the same place. Go to here, step. Okay. Okay, it's still wrong. Shoot. But why? Now they're wrong all in the wrong direction. Some of them are right. Like, I mean, some of the axis directions, no, they look all in the wrong direction. So let's just try flipping it around. Where'd it go? If blah 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 blah. Let's just multiply by a point. It shouldn't be backwards though. Oh, sure it should. Because I'm dumb. Go to here. Step. There we go. I'd expect them to go all the way down though. Oh, we're multiplying by 0.25. Yes. Just try 0.1. Because we should already be scaled. Go to here. Step. Alright, there we go. That's where the base position is, not our feet. But that's where, so now I know what I have to do is get this to be what I want the feet to be. So base pos should be this, add I think the scale. Where'd I go? Where did I go? There it is. Oh, I'm adding this in the wrong place. Yeah, because the bound center, So, let's actually do this. And see what happens. So this is going to put it in the center of the player. I think. So far I've been wrong about a whole lot of things tonight. Okay, so that is the center of our shape. Right? Yeah. So right there, I'm just trying to look at it from the top. Yeah, so it is centered right over her full bounding shape, which apparently we're not drawing. So if I drew the physics test again, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's something else we're missing. No, we must be doing that or we wouldn't be getting hits. But why is the center not down here? This is why I debug these shape things like this. But for the time being, let's do this, which is more like what I want. Step. Yeah, so it's right in the middle of whatever we've decided our quantized view is. And is it right on the ground? I can't tell from here. Or is it inside the ground? Okay. Wait. It's right on the ground. We want it to be right on her feet. Okay, I'm not going to worry about this because we can do a whole lot with what we got, and I kind of wanted to see actual 3D pathfinding. So where are the contact points for... Let's take out those red boxes for the moment and use color to show... Oh, no, let's just take the red box out for a second. That's the arrow. That's the arrow. Where's the box? This is the box. False. Okay, so we want to clean the path. Go to here. Remember, step. Okay. And we can get rid of this blue box as well. Up here. Where did I put it? Right here. Clean path. Go to here. Blink. Step. Okay. So everybody's pointing down there. These are almost directly sideways. So we want a fudge factor. Okay. Yeah, so far 0.125 is our fudge factor. So that is what we will use here as well. So determine if it is blocked. If rel vector dot y is less than 0.25, we actually want to int block count equals 0. This would be easier this way. So return block count greater than 0. So this one's not a block. We can just return without adding. Okay, so these should no longer be blocks. If we clean the path and set, go to here, step. Okay, so we've only got these blocks. We've got blocks in the ceiling too. And so this kind of depends on the player's, the character's height. And actually, but if it's a lot less than 0, like say rel vector is greater than minus 0.125. So we'll let them, and so if it's basically eighth of a block above or an eighth of a block below, we'll consider that okay. If it's in that range, that's not a block. In fact, let's boolean block equals. Yeah, I'm not gonna work. Okay. I just was trying to think of ways that I could still visualize these if I wanted to. If the rel vector dot y is greater than, let's say it's greater than 1.75. That's not a block either. It's really supposed to be the character height, which we'll figure out some other time. Clean the path. Oops. Clean the path. Go to here. Step. Okay, so now we've got back to our normal blocky things. Let's take off the... Let's take that off. Put this back. Okay, so now we'll see our blocks. If we clean the path, go to here, step, 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 step. Why is it no longer stepping? Oh, we're not seeing... I turned off the... I somehow turned off the path drawing? It says we're done. We can't be done. So somehow it thought we were still blocked, and it didn't draw the boxes here. Clean path, go to here, step. We should have been able to go out this way. So I've done something wrong. If true, we're supposed to draw the box. We didn't draw the box. If false, what happens if I remove these? Do we draw the box again? Oh, return. Oh, no, 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 no. So if we found blocks, then we exit out of... Wait. If we exit out of this whole thing, this loop. Yeah. Early returns are especially weird in languages with lambdas and closures. Fix that bug. Okay. Step. Okay, so now we're blocking everywhere again. Let's put this stuff back. Whoops. Okay. Oops. Alright. Clean the path. Go to here. Step. Ah, there we go. Okay, we're back to walking right through walls. That's not right. Why didn't you block... Why did you block here, but not here? That makes no sense. That makes no sense at all. Let's... Let's make sure things are being sensible. Maybe she has superpowers. Yeah, but it's like she's superpowers and she couldn't walk through a... She couldn't walk through the floor over there, which is... So... Each little block goes back to the thing. And so we should have stopped going there. Oh, I know why. I don't know why it decided to fail here. But I do know why. We never... Like, here we should be saying block count plus plus, right? We found a block because we didn't exit out early. So step, 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 step. I don't know why it's not drawing our red boxes anywhere but the bottom. Oh, maybe it was doing that before. Anyway, so now it's working more like we want it. It should go around the thing. Eventually, it's going to come around the corner, and it's not going to be able to walk over that ledge, I think, because we haven't fixed that yet. Wow, it's really taken its time trying to get over here. There we go. It's trying to get around, but it found blocks again, right? But, so if we temporarily change our threshold to allow this, we'll add a new one here. If rel vector dot y is greater than or is less than wait, so yeah, so if it's still less than 0.5 we'll let it go, right? So if it's less than half a block tall, and because we're slightly up, I think that works. And step, 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 step. It got a block there again, though. Because the contact point is up there, that makes no sense. Or that makes no sense. Where's that contact point coming from? We don't get a red arrow for it, it's not real. And it's nearer to us than the, right? Or it's hitting that wall is what it is. And it's pointing out. No. We'd have gotten a green, or we got a red arrow if that is true. Or maybe it's slicing all the way through and we just can't see it. Yeah, I think that's what it is. So it's this contact here and it's just slicing through the wall. But we should have been able to go this way. And I'm not sure why we couldn't. Maybe because it's exactly 0.5. So let's make it 0.6. And let's make the test as close to the same as we can. Go to here. Okay, step, 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 step. Okay, so gonna go over. Yes. Okay, so it went over the wall. It didn't do it correctly because it should go up. But what we have here should be the ability to walk up on these ledges. We can't go up things yet because it doesn't know to move that candidate up. But we should be able to walk around. We should make it go up though. So how do I reconcile that? If I got multiple contacts, I need to pick the best one, right? Because if she hit a ledge and a wall, the wall is going to block it. The ledge is not going to block it, but I might have multiple hits, and one of them, both of them could be ledges, but one of them's a higher ledge kind of thing, right? Just depends on how many objects are there, right? But let's assume one for the moment. And so if we have vec3d neighbor offset equals new vec3d 0, 0, 0. Right, so if we had it like this, it's not a block, but we're going to set the offset. This isn't the right solution ultimately because, again, like I may have multiple ones I need to pick the best, so I would need to iterate over all of them and figure out which the best one is. If there are no blocks, I have to figure out what the best step is. So anyway, we want to set this to be rel vector 0. So when we detect that the contact was here, yeah, we're gonna have problems when it's here. That's tomorrow's problem. We're trying to make a good video here. So we want to see path finding. So then if we have a neighbor offset, come down here, key path world center. Where do I add the neighbor candidate? Or I already created the candidate. Oh, wait a minute. Where do I add it though? Best paths equals next. Alright, sure. Where's the queue? Queue. So somewhere down here I add it to the queue. Queue, right here. Data. I don't need to do that. I grabbed the queue up here. I can just say queue. Confuse myself less. And actually, let's make this equal to null. It'll be easier to detect it. Equals new vec3d, and then if we do something with neighbor next, create next is neighbor dir base, okay, neighbor. Extend neighbor. So next location, and location is in the grid, so I think we want to say if neighbor offset not equal to null, then next location equals, well, we want to convert it to pass cell to world. Neighbor is next location, right? Yep. And then new loc, add loc, just in case. Okay. Hold on. This will be apparent in a second. And then next dot location equals world to path cell. Is that the thing? World to path cell. Yes. Then we need to cover the case where we go down. If the rel vector is below, okay, and so if rel vector dot y is less than, let's give it a little fudge space. Then we want to be able to drop back down. No. If it's greater than we already do that. Right. So let's make this the fudge factor. If it's greater than minus thing, we're just cool. We're walking flat on the ground. If rel.y is less than 0 and rel vector.y is greater than minus 0.5, or what it was our 0.6, right? Then we can let it drop down as well. Okay, so that'll let us go up steps and down steps, I think. And then we added the offset in. Well, let's just see what happens, right? Clear the path. Whoops. Go to here. Actually, clear the path. Go to here. All right. Step, 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 step. Did we go up? We did. Step. Now we should go down. We shouldn't. We do go down. Check it out. Step. Step. Yay. Okay. Now it didn't really do what I wanted because it really shouldn't. Oh, so it went up here and it tried to go out here and shouldn't have been able to. So we're not properly detecting falling off the ledge. But let's you're a wizard, Harry. So let's try to make her walk around. Let's see if she can get up the stairs. How's that? Right? Clean the path. Go to here. Can she make it? Oh. With the current heuristic, it's going to take her forever to get there. So let's make her go at least sort of in the right direction. Oh, crap. There we go. Okay, so let's see if she can get up there. Step, 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 step. Okay, can't go that way. Can go up the stairs. Oh. Come on, go up the other way. Yeah, so she's not going back down. She's not detecting the drop. But she made it up the stairs. Check it out. All right. So, I mean, it's not perfect, but you can kind of see. Let's see how she does. I think it's going to have her hover right over the... So, I don't know. Should I end on the high note, or should I show her failing catastrophically to navigate these? So let me show you. So that worked, right? In principle, things are working. So keep that in mind. In principle, things are working. So now let's put her up here, right? And have her walk to here, right? And I think she's going to hover right straight in the air. That's my guess, right? Yep. So she doesn't detect the drop. Oh. I know why she doesn't detect the drop. So we don't get contacts for the drop. When we have no contacts at all, we should... When we have no contacts at all, we should block the path. If results is empty, no floor, right? We can't go. So let me clean the path. Let's go back. Let's try to go here again. Okay. Step, step, step. Look at her walk that little path. Oh my gosh. She can't go down though. Our thing doesn't extend down far enough. So she can't go back down the step. But anyway, you get the idea. And I need to call it because I hear like people yelling downstairs. Something's going on downstairs I need to take care of. But in principle, it's working, right? I just need to tweak that, and I'll maybe post something this weekend. If you go to the upper left corner, you can join the Discord, and that's where I usually post like up-to-date screenshots and so on and stuff. Progress. Several times a day. Alright guys, let me bring up the thingamahoojet Thanks. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please add a comment to the video, like it. You just go down there and click the little thing, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. Otherwise, I will see you next week, and I hope you all have a truly productive week in any creative endeavors that you are attempting. I hope to do the same, and I will see you next time. Thanks a lot.